Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
I'm Professor Meg.
And today we are giving our first impressions of The Witcher Legacy.
The Witcher what?
The Witcher Legacy, Meg. Yeah, it's a game. It's a game. Anyways, so The Witcher Legacy from Go On Board. This is the third Witcher game from Go On Board. They had The Witcher: The Old World. They had The Witcher: Path of Destiny. Both of them different games, same shared universe, obviously, but very different games. And then we have The Witcher Legacy, which I would say is very reminiscent of The Witcher: Old World, with a lot of changes and legacy aspects to it. The general format of this kind of first impressions is, first of all, regular disclaimers, prototype, all rules, components subject to change. I'm specifically avoiding the top-down camera for right now. It might go on at some point, we'll see. But for right now, I'm avoiding it because I don't want you to see the results of the things we've done on this map.
Slight spoilers, but what is in front of us is also scenario 1, so it's not anything crazy. We haven't seen the full everything that this game has, so.
Past that, there'll also be a link to the campaign down below, and also there'll be a link to a gameplay if you want to check out our gameplay going through it with obviously spoilers. But honestly, I'd say, as well as what Meg said, there's definitely going to be spoilers to that scenario. But I think if you're trying to get a good feel for things, there's a healthy balance of you will have some things ruined, although I don't think it'll ruin your overall experience, although I can't say that for sure because I haven't played the rest of this game. Which brings us to the major caveat: this is very much first impressions. We played through this this one scenario over here. We have not played through the whole game. We can just tell you kind of vibe check. It's a vibe check review. It's a vibe check of like, how are we feeling? What are we excited about? What are our concerns? Like, where are we after playing through this one scenario? Granted, this one scenario is around 2.5, 3 hours, so definitely a good amount of game time in there.
Now, Alex, I believe you didn't say this yet, but where this game is, in very much the same universe, this is cooperative.
Yes.
So you're playing together instead through the story. So for anyone who's interested in like legacy games and things like that, this one is a fully cooperative one. We're going to be working together instead. Yeah.
Which I guess is a good time to dive into before we dive into the vibe check part, the first impressions. A general overview of how the game plays. A very loose overview is you're going to be controlling your Witchers, your characters. You're going to be starting off by reading through your starting book over here. You're going to open it up, start the chapter you are engaged with. It'll tell you what to do. It'll tell you what's going on. What's the situation. It's going to set the stage for you. From there, you're going to be trying to accomplish your scenario goals, whatever those goals are, through a combination of moving around to different locations, taking the actions at the location. Again, if you've played The Witcher: Old World, this will be very familiar as far as the general structure. You're going to have your hand of action cards. You're going to use those action cards to move around to different locations and take the actions at those locations. This is where it's going to start to diverge from the Old World in the sense that this is a lot less like, hey, here's a quest card that you gathered and go somewhere else. Rather, you're going to be reading various texts that guide you through an actual story.
Making some decisions.
Yeah, it's not that those isolated instances of like, oh, you hear something happening and you go to an inn. It's not going to be kind of a separate, disparate instances. You are going through this actual journey, this actual story, all guided by this book. Along the way of making choices. You will have those choices, similar to, again, if you are familiar with The Witcher: Old World, you'll have those choices, those consequences, but this time it's tied to the actual story that's going on, uncovering what's happening, tracking various creatures, interacting with the various characters, and learning more about their various motives and all that, all while you eventually will still, of course, have things like upgrading your tracks. You're going to have your character board over here, your unique characters. You're going to be upgrading your stats on these player boards. You're going to be using those stats for anything from combat to, well, combat, primarily combat. And then you're going to be engaging in combat along the way with whatever the various monsters are that are in that scenario. Whatever...
You say primarily combat, but a lot of them are also used for different tests. So you're going to have all of your different attributes for tests, and the higher that they are, the more you're going to be able to re-roll for that.
Yeah, this is a slight shift if you played The Witcher: Old World. Again, lots of times when we're saying if you played The Witcher: Old World, but there was that like poker mechanic where you can kind of roll against somebody else or roll against to fight. That's decent enough. Yeah. We saw high numbers, but high numbers are not the only thing you need. But then you're going to be, instead of rolling for poker, you're going to be rolling for these tests that Meg mentioned. There's going to be lots of times where the game's going to give you tests from various locations, from various things in the book, and you're going to be testing against your stats and attributes. So like me saying here, it's primarily for combat, it's going to actually engage with a lot of the gameplay as you're going through it.
Your stat attributes.
Your stat attributes, that's true. Your stat attributes, that's someone's have to make that.
I keep doing
someone
that
has to have done that.
Yeah.
In any case, that's the basic kind of general overview. There's going to be a whole bunch of other things. We're not going through everything. It's going to, again, if you've played The Witcher: Old World combat, you're going to have that combat chaining, so you're going to have cards that lean into different cards that give you different boosts as you go. You're going to have potions. You're going to have, your enemy combat cards. Something new here is the concept of these mutagens. Mutagens are kind of these, as you upgrade your track, you can unlock these kind of permanent abilities to yourself that help you, give you different, kind of similar to potions, except they're not one-time use. They help you grow as a character with certain combos. Play 2 yellow cards, you get to do this. If you have a combo of 3 cards, you get to do that. Different kinds of things that are happening as you go through it. That's kind of the general idea. So, to again, say for the last time, It's The Witcher Old World with a lot more focus on the story. There's a lot more focus on the actual world you're going through. On, yes, you'll have those combats. Yes, you'll have them moving around the board. Yes, you'll have the optimizing. But it is cooperative or solo as well. And you're going to be dealing with an actual story as opposed to this general, let's just wander around, kill things, and see who wins. You actually have something you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And I was just going to say that this is for 1 to 4 players, so yes. You can play up to 4. And if you are playing 1, you have your main Witcher, but you can have like a little apprentice side guy that's there to help you that's not as important as your main Witcher, but you can play this solo for those of you that do.
Yeah. And that's kind of to catch you up on general mechanics, which means it's time for the vibe check. The vibe check after playing through the first scenario of just what we think about the game, where are we on this, and Meg, remind me again, you've played The Witcher Old World, but I don't know, like a lot recently, or?
A long time ago.
Long time ago, okay. Well, do you remember anything
about
it?
A long time ago. Generally, yeah. Like, I remember being very competitive, moving around the board. There was a lot more combat, and the action system the card system was very similar.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love The Witcher Old World, and that's definitely going to affect my opinion of this as well, because I'm a huge fan of The Witcher Old World. From the very first time I played it, through every single time since then, it's, to me, I love the general mechanics of it feels like an adventure. It feels like you're adventuring around the board, building up your character, fighting off things, engaging with these little mini side stories that will affect how and where you do things, but it definitely is lower on the story side. That's going to be the biggest change, for better or for worse, depending on what you're looking for. This one has the kind of general structure of that, with, you kind of may have caught Meg saying it a second ago, less combat. There's less combat happening, less fights happening, at least in this one scenario we played. I don't know what the other scenarios will bring to the table, but it's going to focus a lot more on the general narrative of what's going on.
And there is still plenty of combat, so don't hear less combat and think you won't be fighting if you like that. I think there was still plenty of opportunities for combat, and some that are even surprises, so all of a sudden a battle is happening. So there are those instances, there's a whole lot more to it as well.
Yeah, for me, I think that the tricky part is me not comparing this to The Witcher Old World the entire review, but I'd say that for me, my overall vibe check of it, and I'll try to get into the things I didn't like as much, but I'll start with the positives, which is, for me, I enjoyed the combat. I love the card chaining in general, and again, this is true. This is something I carried over from the first game. The card chaining is incredibly satisfying. I think that building up a good hand, trying to work your way towards certain cards, and then having it play out in combat the way you want, combining with the abilities. So combat, I still find incredibly satisfying to go through, and the mutagens only add to that. So these mutagen cards that give you more ways to try to think through what you're trying to do in combat. Overall, combat retains the strengths of the original game while giving you a little bit more. And this is where we get to, like, I guess, the most minor spoilers in my opinion, but it is a minor spoiler. There will be ways that you can augment cards going forward, which gives you ways to kind of build out and develop your deck in ways that are going to be even more satisfying. So I both already enjoyed the combat in its current state, because it's reminiscent to the combat that I already like. It already adds mutagens, which I already like, and it gives me that potential kind of seeing the future of a permanent ability. Imagine going through like 8 games of The Witcher Old World in a row, where you can actually start to build and develop your deck, not just in a single game, but rather game to game. So combat is already starting off as a plus for me.
And I think on top of that, not just combat, but, choosing the new action cards that you get to gain and stuff, I think that because this is competitive, Okay, so when I talk about strategy, there's 2 ways to strategize, and it can be very fun when you're playing a competitive game to strategize like very, very deeply and have all of these ideas. But in my opinion, when you're playing high strategy, playing cooperative is a lot better, because you can explain your ideas and look at the cards and decide like who wants what and what to gain. That, I don't know, I just really liked the cooperative element on top of the strategy element, that I think it just really fed really well into itself.
Yeah, I agree. Co-op was going to be my second plus. For all that I've played The Witcher Old World a bunch, I have not actually played a lot of the expansions still. I haven't played the Wild Hunt yet either, which is the solo version of it. So this is my first time playing this kind of game experience cooperatively, and I would say that I do somewhat miss the tension of like, you can hit me, like, oh, you're right next to me, you're closing in on me on the map. So like, I missed that tension. I did like that, but I overall think that the general cooperative flavor of it definitely felt more fun overall. So it's a little bit of a minus in the sense that the tension of the players is gone, but the overall experience, I would say, is enhanced by playing the cooperatively. So it kind of makes me want to play The Witcher Old World cooperatively or solo as well going forward, or at least try it out. But I definitely, again, minor minus, but overall I like the co-op.
I don't think I've said my first thing.
Go ahead.
You were at 2. But I'm not counting it. I was jumping in on yours. I love legacy games. And my first thing is going to be that how this was handled for the legacy element, because there is a map in front of you, you can kind of see it, and there are stickers on it that you're uncovering different areas and taking those stickers off, either when something triggers it or some things you can search and pull them off. But each of these maps is per scenario. So you have this map for this scenario, it has stickers on it, you're going to pull them off, figure things out. And I just really like that component part. That I think when I talk about these, I talk about like the component piece a lot. And I think that the way the surprises were done, and I believe this is prototype, but regardless, the quality of the map and how it works, I really, really enjoyed. And for anyone that's out there that is like this, because they're like these little tag stickers, it's very reminiscent of the McDonald's Monopoly stickers that you can pull off. It's very like, it's very fun. I really liked removing the stickers, and I think that helped me explore more, that I think it forced me to want to do more things, because I was like, sure, I can do this, but I really want to pull off that sticker. And on top of that, there's our book, our travel journal, and you are getting these different stickers that kind of track what you're doing. And I really like that.
But we're not going to do it very fast. But you're kind of like developing a story that is your unique pathway.
And I really like that system. I think that it's pretty cool that it keeps track of all the things you get. Some of those have like symbols and stuff on it that you want to look for. So there's just like a lot there with that aspect.
Yeah, I'm not someone who's like, so I've played a lot of legacy games. I usually, when I'm done with them, I'm kind of just done with them and it's fine. But almost in every group I play, there's always that one person who kind of wants to create something out of it. A journal, a scrapbook, a shadow box out of the components. And this, I kind of was like, that makes it so easy to like, and I think I'd even appreciate this. As much as I don't create those things, like, it is nice to have this, like, one book, like, oh, remember that time? Oh, yeah, that was our... So it really was well done as far as that goes. For me, I'm realizing the more I think this through that most of my pros come with some degrees of cons, except for combat. Combat's just a straight-up pro. But most of my pros are about the ways it was enhanced and the ways it was worse. Because you mentioned the whole legacy and uncovering the map. I think that was a lot of fun. Like, being able to uncover the map and have this unknowing aspect of where you don't know what you're doing. You can't perfectly plan across, like, I'm on my 7th game of The Witcher and I know exactly the right order to do things. It's kind of discovery. That's a pro. It's a pro in the sense that you're kind of exploring, you're unlocking things. It gives you a reason to want to engage with the world around you because you're just figuring out what happens. It's also a con in the sense that I like that optimization. I kind of like looking at a board and being like, okay, well, I'm going to go here, then here, then here. And this doesn't let you do that in the same way because you don't know what's under any sticker at any point. So it's not about that perfect optimization. It's about that sense of exploration and discovery. So again, it's a trade-off. You gain exploration, discovery, legacy, wanting to find out more. And you lose some of that optimal planning that, like, something that I did appreciate from the original game of optimizing my paths and routes.
And this is something we already touched on a little bit, but the story does have branching choices. So as you're playing, you're going to have certain things that you read, and you'll have a choice of, should I do this or that? And it is cooperative, so you guys can kind of talk about it and decide what's best, but you're not always going to know what's best. Sometimes you're just trying to guess and do the thing, and a lot of these games do that, but I think that for this one in particular, completely spoiler free if I can, there was a little bit of a mystery in this first scenario, and toward the end we were kind of put to, what do we think and what happened? And I think that with all the clues that you're given, I just really liked how it felt like a little bit more than what I usually get in a legacy game, that I felt like the ownership was really put on us to see what we thought was going on.
Yeah, the overall story, and again, pros and cons here. Overall story aspect is significantly more involved. The original The Witcher Old World, again, it has those quest cards. You pick up a quest card, you're like, there's a fight outside the inn. Do you get involved or not? And if you don't get involved, you get an extra sleep and you're more prepped. If you do get involved, you get a combat boost. There's all these different small things that happen. Like kind of what you said a second ago, you don't know the outcome. So it has that aspect. But it has it all on these like single cards with a tiny amount of text. And they're not linked to each other. So this is much more involved. There's an ongoing story. There's an ongoing development. You're reading a lot more. You have a lot more backstory. By the time you're done, you're learning the characters of the particular individual thing that you're playing through, which is both a pro, and also you're reading a lot more, which if you're looking for the mechanics can be a con. So like I liked the overall story. I liked the exploration. I liked the sense of everything that I was doing. But again, as someone who's a huge fan of The Witcher Old World, I definitely missed some of the mechanical highlights. So to me, The Witcher Old World is almost like a perfect game for me in the sense that it gives me the story and the flavor, but it does so while letting me be fully enveloped in the mechanics of the game to a much larger extent. This one gives you a significantly more of a journal and of a story you're going through, of carry through and follow through on the choices, more reading if you want that full, what's going on, but it does so at the cost of some of that time has to go somewhere unless you want to play a 5-hour game. So there's less mechanical investment in the same way or the same strategy aspect.
And I also just want to say I really liked the mutagen cards.
Yeah.
I really liked that. as you get stronger, you can have more as well. That I really liked that aspect. I found that with what you were saying, where it is more exploration and not as much what's definitely in front of you, those cards kind of helped me a lot in combat of like, okay, I want to try to do this. This is what I want to go for. So I think that was a little bit of a carrot dangling in front of me of like, okay, now I have this, I'm going to try to make that chain happen.
For me, the last thing I had a second ago, the last thing is the thing I can't really talk about a lot, which is, again, vibe check aspect. It's that we got to see a little bit of what the future holds for how things are going to develop, how our characters are going to build across scenarios. I don't know more than that, though. I know a tiny little smidgens of we're going to be able to upgrade our stats here and add to our cards here, and we're going to be able to develop our decks. And so I saw a small amount of that, but legacy games are all over the place as far as what they do and how they do it. How many rules do they add? How much of it is constantly learning new things versus engaging with the thing you already know? How much are you developing as a character or your decks or your whatever it is, items or whatever it is you have? So for me, or even the story, like I don't even know if the stories we have going forward are linked to prior stories or if they are, if they're individual things. Like how much will the things we've learned now come back to be a factor in the future? So all of these things, like it kind of puts me in a place where I liked what I saw so far, and I have a lot of questions as to what will come, but this is where we're in very much first impressions and vibe check and all of that, as opposed to a full scenario type thing. So I'm excited and I'm intrigued, but we can only comment on the first scenario so far.
But we had to stop.
We have to stop. Yeah.
We had to stop there.
I'm ready for final thoughts if you are, unless you have more things you want to go.
I'm ready.
For me, final thoughts wise, I really enjoyed this experience. It comes to me, it's like if you watch me in reviews, like sometimes I'm like clearly not enjoying something, sometimes I'm very much into things. This is an interesting one for me because I very much enjoyed this, and I have no doubt I will be playing. I think the final game is supposed to be, before we get to expansions or stretch goals or who knows what else is coming, I believe it's supposed to be 8 scenarios. And no question, I will be playing through all of those. I think they estimate it at 25-ish hours of content, maybe 30 hours of content. And there's no question to me this is going to be a legacy game I dive into, I finish, I enjoy. My only question is whether I'm playing it 2 players or 3 players. Definitely not solo, but honestly, I know, you enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. I know AP enjoyed the Witcher game a lot, so it's probably gonna be a 3-player legacy game we go through and go through the entire thing. I am 100% certain that I will enjoy this, finish it, and play it. It's slightly muted in the sense that this inherently is comparable to The Witcher Old World, which I think is a game that I do enjoy more overall because of the slight more focus on mechanics over story, although it comes down to what it is that you're looking for. So my overall vibe check, again, this is not a rating, this is a tentative rating. I don't rate things after a single play. It's a tentative rating of, I would say, I can't see this going below a 4 to 5. I could see it going to a 4.5, depending on what the experience carries through, or even the emotional investment. I've had legacy games that really did hit me with the emotional investment, depending on how they played through. I'm not there yet. I like the story so far, but I'm not yet emotionally invested in things. So I'd say I'd be surprised if it's lower than a 4. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a 4.5. I would be surprised if it makes its way to a 5. This is not a review or a rating. This is a first impressions vibe check.
Yeah, and for me, it's so funny what you said because I didn't think you were going to say everything you said. And I was going to say, I'm not going to rate this at all because I don't really do that during the
first impressions.
But I really want to play the whole thing. And I think that alone can speak to itself, that I am really excited to play this through in its entirety when I'm able to. But that being said, I think I want to play it solo. So maybe we'll have 2 campaigns or something going on. But I'm really intrigued. Yeah, I think if you guys know me, there are some legacy games that I devour. I think I played Charterstone in 2 days. So there are some games that I can just whip right through. And this one to me feels like something I might want to just lose myself in.
Interesting.
Yeah. It'll be 40 hours I haven't slept and I'm going to be like, oh my god, this campaign was crazy.
Yeah. Well, with expansions.
Yeah.
In any case, because
of snacking and eating. I'm saying within 40 hours.
Oh, a 40-hour time frame.
Yeah, I could maybe...
Is this going to be your Press and Meg 24-hour live stream?
Maybe. I'm kind of tempted.
24-hour live stream? Playing Witcher Legacy?
I'm saying 40 hours, I think I could do the whole thing.
I want to stay tuned. There'll be a 24-plus hour live stream coming from Meg when she just plays
We'll do little exercise breaks between every scenario.
Yeah. In any case, that is our first impressions of The Witcher Legacy from Go On Board. We'll have a link to the campaign page down below. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
I'm Professor Meg.
And have a good one.
Bye.